Welcome to a moment of calm. You don't need to do anything. Just make yourself comfortable, breathe slowly, and allow this story to gently guide you towards sleep. Tell us in the comments how many minutes it took you to fall asleep. Sweet dreams. This moment does not appear by chance. You have arrived here because something within you recognizes the need to pause, to step away, even for an instant, from the rhythm of the day. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to achieve any goal. Just be present. This meditation is a gentle invitation. It does not seek to push you into sleep or demand immediate relaxation. It is here to accompany you, to open a space where rest can arise naturally, when both body and mind feel ready. Thank you for giving yourself this time. Thank you for choosing yourself tonight, even if it was not a fully conscious decision. Sometimes, it is enough to allow something to hold us. At the end of the day, the body is often tired. However, the mind does not always follow the same rhythm. When distractions cease, when obligations come to a stop, the thoughts that remained unfinished find space. Worries, memories, anticipations, everything that was postponed during the day appears when silence settles in. Without realizing it, we bring all of this into bed. The place meant for rest becomes a place of weight. That is why, before closing your eyes, it is important to transform the environment. Not perfectly, not with pressure, but with intention. Observe the space you are in. Allow yourself to do so calmly. This is the place where your body should feel safe. A refuge, not an extension of the day. If possible, adjust the lighting. A soft, dim light helps the nervous system understand that it no longer needs to stay alert. It is not about turning everything off, but about creating a gentle atmosphere that invites the pace to slow down. If you have candles, you can light one or two. Do it slowly. Observe the flame for a moment, not as decoration, but as a conscious gesture. Lighting a warm light is a way of telling the body, now it is time to rest. You may have a scent that you associate with calm. Incense, an essence, something familiar and pleasant. By scenting the space, you are not only changing the air, you are also marking a transition, as if gently closing the door on the day that is ending. These small gestures can become a personal ritual. Not a rigid or obligatory one, but an act of self-care. An intimate moment in which you choose to create well-being without conditions. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to justify it. Allow yourself to create a welcoming atmosphere. An environment that does not demand performance. A space where you can stop holding everything together. When you feel that the external environment is ready, find a comfortable position. You can sit or lie down, in bed or anywhere your body feels supported. Adjust your position as many times as you need. Listen to your body without arguing with it. There is no correct way to be here. There is the way that feels best for you right now. This is your moment. There is no rush here. There are no urgent matters to attend to. There is nothing to resolve before continuing. You can release the notion of time. You can allow the clock to become irrelevant. Connect with this present moment, with the simple fact of existing here, now, of breathing, of being. Rest does not begin when everything is in order. It begins when you stop demanding that it be. Now that you have prepared the space around you, we slowly begin to prepare the inner space, not with effort, not with control, but with presence and kindness. And from this point, without rushing, we will continue moving forward together. Now that the external space has been prepared, it is time to direct your attention inward, not to analyze what is happening, nor to correct it, only to accompany it. Gently close your eyes, not as an act of disconnecting from the world, but as a way of reducing stimulation. Allow the gaze to withdraw and the attention to begin resting inside. Bring your awareness to the breath. Do not try to change it yet. Observe it as it is. Notice how the air enters and how the air leaves. The breath may be short. It may be deep. It may be irregular. All of it is fine. There is nothing to correct. Now, consciously, take a deep inhalation through the nose. Feel the fresh air move through the body, filling the lungs and allowing the abdomen to expand gently. And then exhale slowly through the mouth, as if releasing a weight you no longer need to carry. Allow the exhalation to be slightly longer than the inhalation, not with effort, only with intention. Again, inhale calmly, exhale softly. Each breath is a signal to the body, a silent message that says, it is safe to relax now. There is no need to stay alert. There is no need to anticipate. You may continue breathing at this rhythm for a few moments. If you wish, inhale while mentally counting to 4, and exhale while counting to 6. This rhythm helps the nervous system begin to slow down. Do not worry if you lose count. This is not an exercise in precision. It is an invitation to find your own pace. As you breathe, notice how the body begins to settle. You may notice small tensions. You may notice areas asking for attention. Do not try to force anything. Simply allow the breath to reach those places. With each exhalation, the body can soften a little more, as if it were allowing itself to be held by the present moment, as if it did not need to do anything to deserve rest. Now, begin to bring presence to everything that is happening inside you. Your body, your emotions, your thoughts, even if they seem disordered. There are no wrong emotions. There are no thoughts that must be eliminated. Everything can be here. Allow yourself to receive this moment just as it is, without judgment, without resistance. Sometimes the mind tries to remain active, even when the body is tired. It seeks to resolve, organize, anticipate, It believes that thinking more is a form of protection. For now, it does not need to do that. You can say to yourself, gently, it is not necessary now. Now I can rest. Allow the breath to become more natural. Do not direct it. Let it flow. With each cycle of inhalation and exhalation, you settle a little more into the present. There is no past to resolve here. There is no future to plan. Only this moment, spacious and sufficient. Notice how, little by little, the inner urgency begins to decrease. The body recognizes that there is no threat, that there is nothing to defend, that it can let go. This is a space of permission. Permission to soften, permission to stop pushing against reality, permission to breathe at your own pace, without hurry. And when you feel it, continue allowing this calm to deepen without needing to go anywhere. As the breath becomes slower and more stable, something else begins to loosen. It is not something you need to provoke. It is not something you need to understand. It happens when you stop intervening. There is a kind of tiredness that does not belong to the body, but to the mind. A quiet tiredness, accumulated from holding too much for too long. The effort of anticipating, of monitoring, of trying to make everything fit. During the day, that effort disguises itself as functioning. At night, when the noise fades, it becomes evident. This moment does not ask you to resolve anything. It does not ask for clarity. It does not ask for answers. It does not ask for strength. It invites you to rest from the need to control. For much of life, we learn to remain firm even when we are exhausted, to keep moving forward without listening to ourselves, to tense up in the face of uncertainty, to believe that letting go is dangerous. But here, now, there is nothing to hold, nothing to defend, nothing to prove. You can allow yourself to release the rigidity with which you sometimes face life, not as abandonment, but as deep rest, a rest that does not demand blind trust, only a small gesture of openness. You do not need to monitor your thoughts. You do not need to push them away. Thoughts appear because the mind is accustomed to movement. When they are not chased, when they are not fed, they dissolve on their own. You may notice fragmented ideas, incomplete memories, loose images, sensations you cannot name. Do not try to organize them. Do not try to understand them. This is not the moment to do so. This space is not for analysis. It is for listening. Gently direct your attention inward, not toward a specific emotion, not toward a particular thought, only toward the general experience of being here, in your body, breathing. Listen to the internal rhythm as it reveals itself. The sensation of weight being supported, the stillness that begins to appear between one breath and the next. Between one thought and another, do not repress anything. Do not correct anything. Do not try to improve the experience. Everything that appears has permission to be here. For a long time, You may have learned to ignore parts of yourself, to silence uncomfortable sensations, to postpone emotions, to stop listening to certain internal signals in order to keep functioning. This moment is different. Here, you do not need to ignore yourself. Here, you can listen without having to act, without having to change anything, without having to reach any conclusion. Allow your attention to rest in this deep listening, as if you were sitting beside yourself, with patience, with kindness. In this listening, something begins to reorganize itself, not as a clear idea, not as a sudden revelation, but as a stable sensation, a gentle certainty. You may begin to perceive a different inner voice, not the one that demands, not the one that judges, not the one that rushes. A quieter voice, slower, one that does not push. That voice does not shout. It does not give orders. It simply conveys a sense of safety, as if it were saying, without words, "You can rest now." This trust is not born in this moment. It has always been present, sometimes covered by noise, sometimes by fear, sometimes by the habit of never stopping. Allow that trust to be felt, not as something grand, but as a stable background that supports the experience. Breathe. Allow the body to settle a little more. Allow the weight to be fully supported by the surface where you are resting. You do not need to hold yourself tonight. You do not need to stay alert. You can allow yourself to be held. Life is not asking for answers now. It is not asking for decisions. It is not asking for clarity. It is only asking you to rest. And in this gentle surrender, without effort, rest begins to find its way. Remain here, listening, breathing, trusting. Now, without changing anything that is already happening, allow your attention to gently descend into the body, not as an active exploration, but as a calm presence that accompanies. Begin by bringing awareness to the face. Allow the forehead to rest, to stop holding expressions, to soften completely. Allow the eyelids to become heavy. Let the eyes rest from observing, focusing, reacting. There is nothing to look at here. Let the jaw loosen. Allow the teeth to separate slightly. Let the tongue rest without tension, as if the entire face could melt into calm. Now, allow this sensation of rest to move toward the neck and shoulders. Notice how much weight they usually carry. You do not need to push them to relax. Just give them permission. With each exhalation, the shoulders can drop a little more. The arms become heavy. The hands rest, open, without effort. Bring attention to the chest. Allow the breath to move it gently, without forcing it, without directing it. The abdomen softens. It no longer needs to hold anything. The back finds complete support in the surface where you are resting. It does not need to stay upright. It can surrender. Allow this sensation of rest to continue descending. Relax the hips, the thighs, The knees, the legs feel heavy, supported, as if the entire body could surrender to gravity without resistance. The feet rest, the toes soften. There is no tension to maintain. The whole body is now in a state of deep stillness, not rigid, not frozen, but calm. If any area of tension remains, do not try to change it. Allow it to be. Rest does not demand perfection. As the body relaxes, the mind also begins to let go. Thoughts lose structure. They become slower, more distant. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to understand them. They can pass like distant sounds, like echoes that no longer demand attention. The sense of time begins to blur. There is no need to know how much has passed or how much remains. In this space, there are no pending tasks. There are no decisions to make. There is nothing to resolve. Only this spacious, quiet moment. Allow the sensation of calm to expand. Within the body, around the body, a soft sense of peace may appear, or simply stillness. Any experience is enough. This state does not need to be maintained. You do not need to remain conscious. You do not need to listen to every word. If your attention fades, that is fine. If it drifts, that is fine too. Nothing depends on it. The body knows how to rest. The mind knows how to let go when it is not demanded. Now, my voice will begin to slowly withdraw, not abruptly, not with a marked ending. It will simply leave space. Space for you to continue resting in your own way. Space for sleep to arrive when it is time. Space for everything to continue without effort. Remain here, or allow everything to dissolve. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to listen to, nothing more to hold. Rest